Feral refers to a domesticated animal that escapes domestication and rewilds itself. Well, the thing about living in an urban environment like this is kind of like if you were a gorilla, it's kind of like living in the zoo, right? This is more like the zoo. And you can throw a few trees in the cage, but that's not really it's not really the real environment of the gorilla, right? So the gorilla gets a little bit soft over time, right? So okay, so now we have this thing, it's like an institution, right? Because there used to be all these different medical systems all living harmoniously together, working together, and then one group called, in the States anyway, it was called the AMA, the American Medical Association, decided to use legislature and pull strings to develop themselves into sort of a super church. The more we domesticate ourselves, the more we get cool shoes and cool clothes and cool buildings and air conditioning and cars and medicines and all these things, the more we're developing heart diseases and cancers and degenerative diseases, and the more reliant we become on systems, and the more oppressive our governments become, and the more we become domesticated, the more we become domesticated. And that keeps leading to cycles of diseases, so it's obvious that we got to kind of rewild ourselves a little bit. When you take an antibiotic, certain bacterial strains are killed that are very difficult to get back. Very difficult. You have to get very clever to get them back. So what happens if you're born and maybe you get cut from the womb? Some of us just got to go like, damn, that was me. Okay. Not like, oh, great, it's over. It's like, okay, what's my strategy? How do I rebuild? The quest when it comes to the earth element, the soil element, is to get yourself cultured. We can get that the food piece is just a little piece, right? Next level takes 4 elements. Thank you. We started breeding medicine out of our plants till we had no medicine left. So what we ended up with is a diet devoid in medicine. If you go out into nature and you start sampling things, suddenly you have to do a lot more variety. You can't just live off one plant like we get to do here with corn or soy. Now, so what we have is this pharmaceutical cartel that sells all kinds of drugs, right? And as long as you get a prescription, it's cool. You don't have to talk about it. No one's going to talk about it. You're not part of the war on drugs. And you can sneak through the cracks getting high. And then there's plants that for you might be really powerful or might become powerful for you later on as you go through this path. And they might become like totems to you, like plant allies. That's what the shamans call that. Because, see, plants are entities, right? They're alive. They're living beings. And you can befriend that species. There's these classifications of herbs that have been kept out of the pharmacopoeias because no one wants you to know about them. And here's what they do. They make you more intelligent. Those are neurotransmitters, right? Your brain makes those, and it makes other ones too, like norepinephrine, like dimethyltryptamine. Your brain produces these things. Now, in the presence of neurotransmitters, you create new synaptic changes. Different psychedelic plant traditions, they exist everywhere. I'm literally everywhere on the planet. So all these different psychoactive plants. Now, some people are like, yeah, but Daniel, this is about health, and those are drugs. Now, interestingly, what's the other word for medicine?